Oh, I tell you what, it is proper muggy weather today. It's well overdue a thunderstorm. It was thundering last night with the odd bit of lightning and rain, but the sun keeps popping out and then it goes into clouds. But tonight we are going out for dinner with one of Lauren's friends who is a native Hungarian. Made that sound all tribal, didn't I? She's not part of a tribe, I promise. We'll get the bus and get straight there. Come along. 5,000 hoof. Has to take a picture before every meal. Textbook.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
The messiest eater.
I'm a messy eater. That was you. You caused the destruction.
Compared to mine.
Well, I've got a cream pastry cake, and it is a bit like a cream slice that you'd get from Greg's, but obviously times 10.
No,
it's much better. You enjoyed it?
The poshest cafe in Budapest since the 19th century, and you just compared your cream cake to Greg's.
Yeah, okay, fair point. 10 out of 10? What's your rating? So Lauren is off to get her nails done, which means for the next hour or so, I am going to be let loose in Budapest. Bye bye. All right, well, she just said 12,000 and then within half a second said 20,000. So I don't know if we're getting swindled here or not, but I think that's like 44 quid. You ladies will have to let me know. I'm sure Lauren will tell me afterwards, but she's getting acrylics or something. Something to do with the nails. Is 40 quid fair? No idea. Now, what is known today as Budapest, centuries ago in the medieval times, was actually split into two halves of the capital city. You had Buda, which was on the western bank of the Danube, and Pécs, which was on the eastern side. Now, I think it was around 1846 where one of the famous attractions here, the Chain Bridge, I think it is. The Chain Bridge, yeah, we'll go with that. Linked both Buda and Pécs. And fast forward a decade or so later, it was officially united Budapest as one capital city rather than two halves. Now, when I think back to more modern history in terms of wars, disregarding the likes of, the tragedies of Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine that's happening currently, my brain instantly kind of goes back to World War I and World War II, but Hungary in itself, and in particular Budapest, has such like a damaging, sad history.
Scenes on the Austro-Hungarian border measure the scope of Hungary's anti-red revolt. West Hungary is rebel controlled.
It was after World War II where Hungary fell under Soviet control, leading to a poorer quality of life. The level and standard of living was decreased. People's rights weren't the same. This led to what was a peaceful protest in 1956, which then, sadly, led into an armed uprising.
Casualties are believed to number thousands after days of fighting in which patriots with small arms battled Russian tanks and troops.
Thousands of the civilians of Budapest in particular came to the streets to protest against the way the Soviet troops were treating the country and wanted a reform of politics, freedom of speech. Obviously, emotions were high, and what was a peaceful protest turned into an armed uprising, which led to the Soviet troops retreating.
For 5 frantic days, Budapest is free. Throughout the city, Soviet war memorials come crashing down. Budapest is in revolt.
Now, it was only the next month where the Soviet Union sent in thousands of troops, killing thousands of Hungarian people. The lucky ones managed to flee, but I imagine there were hundreds or thousands more that were imprisoned, possibly tortured. So this is Parliament building, and when the revolution was happening, students would be climbing that statue, protesting for a better future for Budapest and the people of Hungary. And the building behind me is where the Soviet soldiers, or the government personnel if you will, would actually start shooting from the windows and the rooftop at the students protesting. They're actually rebuilding this at the moment to make it look as it did back in the day, and it feels so weird being here in the heart of it when you've got such a beautiful, structurally beautiful building. If you rewind 60-70 years ago, that is exactly what would be happening. A scary thought really, isn't it? Fast forward to 1956, where János Kador became a leader of Hungary and introduced what was then known as goulash communism, which was a form of socialism with a bit more of a human touch. This started to improve the standard of living for the people of Budapest, the people of Hungary. Hungary would later join NATO in 1999 and the European Union in 2004, allowing the country to become more westernised and adapt to a more Western culture standard of living, which would be a massive improvement. But nowadays, Budapest is a beautiful capital city which boasts a massive amount of history, both as recent as the early 2000s and the World War II, but it also goes as far back as the 1st century when the Romans were in charge. You'll see all types of architecture and buildings and infrastructure from several centuries ago, which has influenced the way Budapest looks today. Now, one thing I love about travelling and making these videos, it's the fact that I've had to learn about new cultures and history and things that I just never knew in school. I was never really interested that much in history, learning about King Henry VIII, but the wars, the ways people had to live and thrive, or thrive's definitely the wrong word. We'll stick with live in countries over centuries ago, decades ago even. It blows my mind. This is literally a 2-hour plane flight or so from the UK, which has had its own problems in the past, but nothing to this extent, as far as I'm aware. Maybe when I'm back in the UK and I roam around all these cities and learn about the history there, I'll be like, oh my God, I never knew this even happened. Anyhow, like I said, it is just proper muggy weather. The sun is shining every now and again, so my head is probably shining all over the gaff on your screen, but it's cloudy, it's muggy, I've got a right sweat on. So when Lauren's done farting around getting her nails done, I think we'd probably go grab a drink and then see some attractions before we have to go meet her friend Elizabeth for dinner tonight. Hello brother, are you okay? Good man. Wow, look at this place. It's like Soviet stuff. Being followed like I'm a shoplifter. Not feeling the vibe, though I get it. Is this all yours?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes.
Wow. Impressive. The let me show you. Is this like Soviet stuff?
This only Hungarian famous porcelain.
Yeah.
Hand painted porcelain and painted with 18 karat gold.
Really? All of it?
Yes.
Wow. You painted it?
No.
Talented, that's what you are. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, ladies, no thank you. I've eaten. It looks lovely though.
Very Hungarian restaurant, the best Hungarian food.
Oh no, I've eaten. I've just eaten.
For the ladies.
Tomorrow. Hello. Not to eat, just a beer.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Can I sit over here? Is this yours?
Yes,
Just here?
Yes.
Okay, that'll do. Sure. Thank you, brother. Thank you. This will go down a treat. Do you guys speak English? Little bit? Oh, are you from Hungary? Sweden? Oh, wow. What brings you here? Holiday? Nice. How long are you here for? 5 days. And then you're back to Sweden?
Yeah, back to Sweden.
And you fly?
Yeah, flies. Ryanair.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We have them in England too. Where in Sweden are you from?
Just between Gothenburg and Stockholm.
Okay. And what?
We have 2 big lakes in Sweden.
Yeah.
We live between them, you can say.
Yeah. And what is your local? Who do you support in Sweden? What football team?
Local team in Sweden?
Yeah.
For me, it's Elfsborg.
Olsberg. They good team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stay on the higher half
Yeah.
every year.
Oh, good. We well, I support West Brom, and they're like championship team, and
Yeah. And I'm a Manchester United fan.
oh yeah.
We've been there with Old Trafford several times, and we've been in London, and
No way.
I've looked at Chelsea United and so on.
Yeah.
But
It's a shame because I'm not a Man United fan, but they were like
yeah.
for so
The
long,
club that everybody aim at.
and now they've finished the league -3, -4 goal difference, I think, -1 and 8th.
8th place.
Shocking, isn't it? I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say.
Big shock.
I know. I'm sorry to interrupt anyway. You carry on. Thanks for chatting. Yes, up the Albion. So that's the infamous chain bridge we are walking on right now that I was waffling on about earlier. 1846, this masterpiece was built. It probably has been restored over time. It does look fresh. So this is Buda Castle that you'll see in the background. Personally, I don't think it looks like a traditional castle that I've seen. It looks more like a parliamentary building than probably the Parliament building. It has a castle wall around it, I guess, so that's something. But there we go. Gonna take a better look around whilst we've got a bit of time, whilst we're waiting around for some dinner. But it is a cool bridge nonetheless. Now, at the Fisherman's Bastion, this is the whole skyline of Budapest. Parliament House from afar, probably the best view from Fisherman's Bastille. Or maybe the second best view. Woohoo! Literally across the thought, is that who I think it is?
How you doing, mate? Okay.
Yeah, good. Sorry, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You've just come back from Saudi?
Yeah.
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 Shame about the result, weren't it? But
There's no boxing in it, things happen. You know?
yeah. When are you boxing next?
Hopefully at the end of the year, just recovering from my knuckle there, so.
All right. All the best with the next one anyway.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. We found the restaurant where we're meeting Lauren's friend Elizabeth shortly. I'm all talked out and walked out for today, so we'll eat here, maybe have a few drinks, get the train back. Got all day tomorrow as well, so we'll see what that adventure brings. But yeah, for now, get some food in my belly, man. Anyway, we're going to a bar to have a few drinks now. We've had a traditional Hungarian lunch or dinner. Had some wild boar ribs. I was going to go for chicken, but I was told that was too boring, so. And now we're going to a bar in an island for a few drinks. So I'm going to call it there for tonight. I did say I'd call it early, but I'm going to call it now. And we'll be back tomorrow for more history in action. Text me when you're at the airport. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh no. And then she was gone. Out of my life again. I'm sure that's a Forrest Gump scene, I don't even know. What am I gonna do? 4 days in Budapest or Hungary by myself. I'm probably gonna leave Budapest today. I need to think of where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do. First up, House of Terror. Doesn't sound that pleasant, to be honest, but I feel like it's got to be done. Learn a bit of history, albeit brutal. We're ordering a Bolt to get to the House of Terror, which I've told you about 3 times now, so I won't harp on about it anymore. I'll try get some stuff whilst we're in there, but it is quite a sad place, so I've read. So I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to be throwing a camera around. I'll show a few bits and bobs and we'll kind of discuss it afterwards. I think probably the best practice. Right then, we are here outside the House of Terror. Now I've got to check out from the campsite at 3 o'clock today, so it is about 10, 10:15. So we've got a good sort of 4.5 hours or so before I've got to get my ass back. But the building itself, probably not the best angle, but it has this all the way around the border. It'd probably be better if I kind of went all the way down there to look at it, but the first thing that stands out is all of these pictures of people going across the side of the building. Now I can only assume these were the people that were either tortured or lost their lives. Well, what can I say? That was deep. Seriously deep. From World War II up until 1991, the amount of corruption and just such a bad state of living in poverty and torturism, from farmers having their land stolen, taken from them, religious figures, people who believed in religion being tortured, brutalized, imprisoned, killed, sentenced to death. It goes much broader and much deeper than my initial research, obviously, but there is postcards and letters in there from people who've written to their families and friends from the war times, from concentration camps. There's items of clothing, and I think what was most sad is that there was 6 boards there of people's letters that they sent begging for mercy and not to be prosecuted, innocent people, and they were just rejected. Imagine having to beg for mercy for your own life, to be spared and not killed for something you haven't done. Or it could be something as simple as that they found you to be religious and sentenced you to death, and you had to beg, like, please don't kill me, and it was just rejected. A big stamp said no, and you were hung. Or perhaps before that, you may have even been brutally tortured. The torture stories were horrific as well. Not only were people like beaten with every kind of object you can imagine, they were electrocuted, they were burnt, they would make them stand on their tiptoes and place like a wooden board full of like razor sharp nails under their feet, and they would basically continue beating them. Fatigue would set in your calves, your legs would be shaking, and ultimately what would happen is when they would collapse and obviously injure themselves and their feet would be cut open or whatever, they'd remove the nails, they'd then beat them to a pulp to get them to stand up again, and the moment they stood up they'd get them back on their tiptoes, put that board underneath them with the nails, and rinse and repeat. They were saying that each torture session would more often than not last about an hour, and then you'd be kept in a room which was freezing cold. You'd have limited food. They'd literally just be keeping you alive to beat you again the next day. There was a room which was probably waist height, I don't know, maybe like 70-80 centimeters, and that was the height of the room. So they'd basically kick you in there after torturing you, and you couldn't stand upright because you were too tall. So you were literally in a hunched over, bent over position, and you'd been there all night, and you couldn't sit down, couldn't lie down, because there's like spying holes, so if they caught you they'd beat you, then they put you in another torture room. Honestly, absolutely horrific. And this was going on even after World War II, and shit like this goes on still today. And that isn't even half of it. Like, there's so much more that I just can't remember. But if you are ever in Hungary, specifically Budapest, you English people, or Americans, wherever you are in the world, definitely do it. There's no point hiding yourselves from the brutality of the world, you know. It's important that people's messages and people's stories are heard, I guess. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Let's go grab some food. I haven't had a McDonald's in about 2-3 months. So, whilst Lauren's away, the cat comes out to play. Let's go grab 20 chicken nuggets or something, I reckon. Right then, I've arrived back at the campsite and paid up. I offered to give a review, and he said, oh, thank you for choosing us, and because you have said you'll do a review, they've gave me a free bottle of booze. So, there you go. Always offered to do a review. Can't even get my words out, I've not even opened it yet. I think it's sweet wine anyway. Not that we can drink it. There's no tolerance for alcohol drinking in Hungary actually, which I think is fantastic. Like, the limit is nothing. If you have a drop of alcohol in your system, you're fucked, basically. So just don't drink, mate. Simple as that. Anyway, I've got to pack up and we've got to go. 3-hour drive to Pécs. In this heat. Let's have it. Right then, I think when I arrived here in Pécs, I definitely need to learn the pronunciation. When I arrived here yesterday, last night, it was about 6 o'clock or something like that. Then I had a bit of drama setting up the electrics and whatever else. I'm not going to bore you with the details. But I found this lovely campsite. Now online, the reviews were a little bit hit and miss. It was like 3-star out of like 100. Some people were saying the owner was a moody old cow. And I thought, fuck it, this should be fun then. So I gave it a bash, and she's not. She's probably a bit blunt because she's, or direct, shall we say. And second of all, there's a language barrier. She's an old bird. She was very polite towards me and very helpful. She only knew a couple of English words. But that's fine, like I wouldn't expect any less, you know. I'm in her country, in her territory, in her campsite. It's 12, 13 euros a night, and that includes water, that includes a shower, a toilet, your place to stay with your motorhome. So yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, we're heading into the town centre now. I'm going to walk, it's about an hour, and I'll probably get the bus back. But I figured whilst it's a nice sunny day, we might as well make the most of it, you know. Oh, look at this. Beautiful place. But behind me is the Church of Christ Asa Pashim, if I've pronounced that correctly. Now, what's unique about this is that it was built in the 16th century under Turkish rulership when they owned these lands. And it was only in 1868 where it was used as a place of worship for Christians. Now, inside the cathedral, you'll still find Quran poems written on the wall. And I don't know if you can make it out, but right at the top of the dome is both the half moon and a cross, which resembles obviously the mixed history with Christianity and Islam. I don't think we're going to go inside there today, but pretty cool, isn't it? I don't think you'd find that in many other parts of the Western world. The buildings are cool though, aren't they? Just the different characteristics of them, very Austro-Hungarian there. And then all the intricate designs from what looks like mosaics next to the windows, the domes on top, and bearing flags of the EU and Hungary on the front. Hello brother, you okay? Let's go explore some more. I've just walked about an hour actually, and I'm getting a right sweat on. It's about 22 degrees, but it feels hotter. So I think first stop is we're probably going to go grab a beer and then explore some more. Never sounds like a bad idea, does it? Hello! YouTube, yes! Come on, let's show them. I'm Ryan.
What's your name?
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ryan.
Hello,
I'm
Jasmine.
Yes.
Dominic. Let me turn this around. What are you guys doing here today?
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I am. I'm not famous, by the way.
Can you tell me?
Of course I can. It is, well, it's like being a local celebrity all of a sudden. You have a camera out wandering around, everybody wants to know who you are, what you're doing, are you famous? I was like, no mate, I've only got 50 subscribers. Anyway, I was going to go find a bar, so let's go grab something. There's a big, long stretch of pavement ahead of me, so maybe that's going to lead to another town square. Could murder a Guinness, but I'm not sure if they'll do them. Let's have a look. So I've just finished having 2-3 pints. They didn't have Guinness, but Heineken had to do. But you know what, I figured that I'm on my own, I might as well try to speak to a few people. So I met some, well, speaking to the bar staff and I said, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I've seen the cathedral, I've seen that street, and what else can Pécs offer me? And they said nothing really. So I might just have a quick Google, I might try to speak to a few more people, and then probably go back to the van. Oh God.
What?
What you're seeing on your screens now is the exact view that on 13th of March 1938 Adolf Hitler was looking at, or overlooking in the background on that very balcony